guys, how are you today? Today is Monday. We are almost the end of January, which 2018 has been good so far. I hope it's been good for you. I know it's been a little rough if you're just finding out you've been just found out your diagnosis, but I'll let you guys know you're in a good place and that you're going to get all the information that you need and the support that you need to get through this. So today I am talking about educating your kids about herpes. Okay, I'm sure if you're a mother or you're a father, because you know guys, I talk to y'all too, don't think I'll be leaving y'all out because I'm not. So my whole thing, if you're a mother or you're a father, auntie, grandma, whoever, and you take care of children, I know, and you are diagnosed with herpes, this is one of the hardest conversations to have. Number one, because you're scared. Do I want to disclose to my children or to my nieces and nephews, or do I just want to share the information? Okay. And I ask this question to so many people so many times, and they always like, I don't know if I want to tell that to my kids. What if they go tell my business, or what if they go tell my ex-husband or their dad, and oh my god, I didn't tell him, and I know how he is, we already shaky, and if he find that out, he gonna like you this, you that, and that's the reason why I ain't with you and stuff like that. But my whole thing is, guys, y'all cannot truly worry about what the child is going to do with the information. Typically the kid is not going to sit here and say, I'm gonna go out here and just gossip about my mom. Absolutely not. That is not our kids' motive. Our kids love us. Our kids never want to do anything to hurt us. And I want us as parents or guardians or anybody who have any impact in children's lives to think that a child will sit here and just be that malicious, especially when it's this type of information. Knowing that you're coming from a place of love, coming from a place of education, coming from a place of looking out for them, especially if that child have respect for you and care about you, they're not going to just sit here and just say, you know what, I'm going to tell all my auntie business or all my mama business just because. So my whole thing is, I know you're treading a lot of water. I know you're scared, but the truth be told, kids relate to honesty. Kids relate to transparency, and we truly treat kids like they're stupid. It's sad, but it's the truth. We can say from our standpoint, when we were growing up, our parents act like we wasn't educated. They tried to act like we don't know any better. And when I come from, when I'm talking about sharing this information, I'm talking about preteens. I'm not talking about babies. Y'all see here, my little one here, he's not feeling good. I'm not talking about under 11. Well, not even that. Yeah, not under 11. We're going to put it on not under 11, because from 11 and up, you got to start educating them about just touching and kissing and things like that, because honestly, we're in a different time frame. It's not the same, but we got to think about the things that we did at 11, 12, 13 and up. We were doing some stuff we had no business doing, and on top of that, a lot of us was put in situations we should not have been in. Okay, we should not have been in at all. You know, people touching on you, and people, your cousin, introducing you to stuff, or saying, oh cuz, look at what I seen, or what I learned, or what my friend told me, or you know, you go to a friend's house and you see something you don't supposed to see. So my whole thing is, the best thing for us to do as parents and guardians and aunties and godmothers and godfathers is to educate these babies. It's better for them to hear from somewhere that people care and know the information than hear it from out in the streets and Instagram and Facebook, and Google is not their friends. Okay, they could put in I want a pony, and they will find a woman screwing a pony. Okay, so with that being said, guys, we got to be careful, because at the end of the day, these kids are getting wrong information. And as we know, I talked to so many young ladies at 16, young guys at 16 years old who contract this disease, this virus. And they are struggling because nobody educated them. Nobody told them that they can get this from kissing. Nobody told them they can get this from, you know, funneling and doing some things they don't should be doing. They did not know these things. They didn't know they can simply get it from oral sex. They think, well, I don't think I can get that like that, you know, because most of us do not know or understand that cold sores can lead to genital herpes. So with that being said, a lot of people don't know that. And on top of that, those kids don't understand, and their parents have not opened their mind to it because they think they don't know any better, or they don't think they can grasp the concept, or they're just too scared to explain it to them that, you know, they made a mistake and gave them herpes at a young age and not knowing what it is, or a aunt or auntie exposed their child to that so young, and you know, you sometimes you just don't want to say anything because you feel like it's ruining their child's life. But you have to educate your kids, guys. What's ruining our kids' life is lack of education. That's what's ruining our kids' life. It's not because they're going out here and experiencing things. It's because we are, as guardians and parents, are failing to educate them, including our parents. You know, our parents did the best that they can. No parents want to talk about sex. No parent want to talk about any STD. But my whole thing is, it's best to hear it from a real source that knows the information, who's going to seek the information out, give them the proper information, give them the proper care and love, and give them the dialogue that they need, and give them the space and safe places they can ask questions. And my whole thing is, guys, I don't know how you have opened this door up to your kids, but my whole thing is very important to have an open door policy at your home, because at the end of the day, it's so many kids. Y'all don't know. I don't know if it's some of y'all kids. Y'all don't know, but I have kids getting my inbox all the time asking for help, and all I can do is like, where is your mother? I wish you was close with your mom where you can talk to your mom. And we all get scared. Even as adults, we're scared to tell our moms. I was scared to tell my mom, but it's because of the relationship I had with my mother. It wasn't an open door policy in my house. It wasn't I can go to my mom, I can run to my mom, and I can cry to my mom. I'm the emotional one. I cry and stuff. I'm like, you're too emotional, type thing. So I didn't have that. I only had friends, and clearly my friends had no clue what the heck it was as much as I didn't. So my whole thing is like, as parents and guardians and, teachers and whatever, if you have any impact in a child's life, you need to let that child know that you can come to me, you can talk to me, that I'm a safe place. And if any harm comes near you, I'm going to do everything in my might to protect you. And I want to also give you information to protect yourself as much as possible. Just know you can come to me and ask me questions, okay? So my whole thing is very important that is set first. It's very important. Number one is to set the environment. Is set a positive environment. Set a open door policy. Open door environment. Set a positive environment. Open conversations. Question and answers. Letting your kids know that they can come and ask you any question, guys. Let me give y'all an example. So my son is 7. Okay, Hayden is 7, and Hayden and Junior love to touch their penis. Keeping it raw, keeping it real. They love to touch their penis. And I never have been ever wanted to be a mom to tell them stop doing something. Because we know as adults, when we tell somebody to stop doing something, it increases because you want to know why. I don't think it's anything wrong with it. So I was in the bathroom and my son came in and I was like, what are you doing? He was like, Mommy, I'm touching it. I was like, okay, why are you touching it? He was like, because it feels really, really good. And I was like, okay. And he was like, why do it feel good? I said, well, and he's like, why is it getting bigger when I touch it? I was like, well, when it feels good, it gets bigger. When it don't feel good, it goes smaller. Things like that. I never wanted to sit there and say, no, don't do this. And no lie, I have my mother who tell them, don't do this, it's going to fall off. It's not going to fall off. And I think the scare tactic doesn't work. It absolutely don't work. I do not want to do that to my kids. I have boys. At the end of the day, they're going to be exposed to some of this stuff through friends. Even at school now, kids talk about different things. So my whole thing is I want to give him things that I explain it to him. Sorry, sweetie. Explain it to him the way I can explain it to him. Say hi. But explain it to him the way I can explain it to him.
I'm too cold.
Okay, well, go back in the room and get your blanket, or come back and burn the blanket. Go get your blanket. I'm sorry, y'all. My babies don't feel good. So my whole thing is I didn't want to sit in there and say, oh my God, you're going to have an erection. And, you have an erection when you doing masturbation and all that. Look, guys, don't sit here and use those words with your kids, especially they're young. They don't understand. My whole thing is nothing wrong with using, especially if you're dealing with 13 and up, 16 and up, they know the terminology. My whole thing is they're going to probably think you're lame for using the terminology. But my whole thing is you want to talk their language. You don't want to talk doctor. They don't understand that. We don't even understand it. Even as adults, we don't even like using those words, penis and vagina and breast and, things like that. So my whole thing is like, we don't want to do our kids like that because at the end of the day, they don't understand it. No, I'm not saying that you don't teach them that because my kids are going to know proper terminology for each of these things. I am a strong believer that my kids are going to be very educated and they're going to educate others. But my whole thing, until they're age appropriate, which I don't believe under 10 is age appropriate to use some of those words, because they'll go to school and say, oh, look at your anus, or, oh, look at her breasts. And, oh, he has a, no, we cannot set our kids up like that, okay? Because our kids get rolled up and get sent home. Okay, but I'm saying like when they get to that 13 and up, now they know what's right and wrong. Yes, they know what's right and wrong under 11, but at the end of the day, we're under 13, but still, they're young. They're dealing with the friends. They're going to hear stuff and they're going to want to talk back and forth because they want to feel like they know more. But when they get 13 and above, they know yes and no, that can get me in trouble. And I'm not going to do that. But you still got to talk to kids languages, and you got to ask them, what did you hear, what did you see? Because my son also told me he was in the room with my mother and he seen two people naked, and I was like, what are they doing? And he explained to me what he seen and things like that. And I told him, you know, when things like that are on, you cannot watch that stuff because you don't understand what's going on. So my whole thing is you have to. It's called Chips. Okay, so he said he was watching Chips. I don't know what Chips is. But my whole thing is, guys, we have to, as parents, number one, set the door, open the door to say, it's okay to talk to me. It's okay to talk to me about anything. And I let that be known. Hey, and can't you talk to me?
Yes.
You can talk to me about anything, can you?
Yes.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good thing.
Is it hard to talk to me?
A little.
A little. Why is it a little hard to talk to me? Because what?
I'm scared.
You're scared. Why are you scared?
Because I'm scared to lie.
Well, nobody's saying that you're lying, but why are you scared to say? Are you thinking mommy's gonna get? Are you think you're gonna get in trouble?
Yes.
Okay.
Come here, Angela.
But do you get in trouble for asking me questions?
No.
Okay. So my whole thing is hearing from a baby's mouth, guys. That's the thing. Our kids are scared. They think they're going to get in trouble. And this also goes into how we respond to our kids about everything. Okay. This goes into how we respond to our kids about everything that's going on. Because as parents, especially single moms or single dads or whatever, if you're a guardian and you're single, you know, it's not a married household. Even if it's a married household, I have done it in a married household and it's still complicated and it's still hard. My whole thing is you guys got to understand that we cannot allow our lives and what's going on in our lives, you know, taking care of them, whatever, cause us to lash out at our kids and be mean to our kids and do things because now that one time where they wanted to ask you a question, not knowing what the question may be, now they're thinking every time I try to ask my mom a question, I can't ask her a question because she's going to respond the same way. So I am at fault for doing that before, but as y'all can see, I'm working on that myself. But my whole thing is as mothers, as fathers, as guardians, we cannot do what happened back in the day. That does not work. What our moms may have done now, if you was in a good household and things were great, positivity, you know, all thumbs up. But we all can get better. We all can do better than what our parents did, and our guardians did, and our grandmas did. So with that being said, guys, we have to make sure that we're communicating positively with our kids, even if it's we're disciplining them, correcting them. At the end of the day, it always has to be positive because when they come to us, when they have those scary moments, or they're scared, or they got to ask a question, or something seriously going on in their lives, are they going to be able to come to us, or are they going to run to somebody else, mother or aunt or something like that, which is nothing wrong with that. But truth be told, we want to be the ones that our kids go to because we are the ones who care about them the most. We care about their well-being. We want the best for them and all those things. And we hate to be left out when things like this happen to our kids, you know, because kids are being exposed. Herpes, literally, not even herpes, STDs is starting at 14. Probably lower than that now, but starting at 14 to 25 is the highest rate of STDs. 14 to 25. 14 to 25. And that's the reason why I'm saying about 11, you got to start talking. Okay? And those talks got to be, and I mean, you can't force them. I'm just going to be honest. These are not forced conversations. This is not a 2-3 hour conversation that y'all sit down. These are small conversations that you're sitting in a car. These are small conversations where they come to you and you see them doing something. You like, do you know what that is? You know, because my son Hayden came to me once before and he said something about, did you say something about breasts or titties or something? No, he said something about nipples. Okay. And I was like, what is a nipple then? So I was like, tell me what it is. And he told me what it is, what he thought it was. And I was like, no, that's not what it is. You know, so things like that. And then I took him in the room and I was like, well, I'm going to tell you what it is. So I took him in the room when nobody was around because my mom was home. And also my mom fiance was home, and I wasn't going to embarrass him. I didn't want him to feel like, you know, every time I say something, my mom's going to run and say something to them or do it in front of people, because kids get embarrassed as much as we get embarrassed. When they see that that you're gonna sit there and like laugh in their face and sit there and tell everybody, which I do share things with my mom and things like that later on, but I don't do it in his face to make him feel like what he asked was stupid or what he asked was funny. We can't be laughing in our kids' face when they what's going on with them is serious. And to us, we may think it's nothing, but to them, that's their self-esteem being killed. It's their confidence being killed, thinking that I can't be confident. Everybody know. My whole thing is they don't want everybody knowing their business as much as we don't want everybody knowing our business. So it's very, very important, guys, that when we have those conversations, that they're private conversations. They don't have to be long conversations, but you need to pay attention to your child as you're talking. Let them talk. Let them ask questions. And when you see yourself getting angry or anxious, yourself and ask yourself, why am I getting upset? Because at the end of the day, my child is just asking me questions, telling me what their experience. My child is only telling me what they see. And my whole thing is, it's not fully your fault. And as parents, sometimes we blame ourselves for what our... Hush, please. Don't do that right now. We'll talk about it later, okay? So, my whole thing is, we will, I'm sorry, so my son said kind of just threw me for a loop. But my whole thing is, like, we really have to take consideration. So most importantly, first, creating the environment all around for everything we do for our kids. And if your environment is not right, which my environment wasn't right at first, I'm just getting to a point where my environment is getting better. Okay, guys, I'm not telling you this from a place where I was just absolutely perfect. No, I have taken the initiative to change something about myself, and look at my parenting skills and look at how I was raised and why I did what I did and changed it. And then also after that, taking consideration that my child is a human being. They are a human being. They are not just a child. My whole thing is they got a brain, they have feelings, they have a soul, they are a spirit being. My whole thing, God made them just like they made us. That means they got everything that God gave you. They have the same feelings, the same soul, the same power, all of it. They have it. They're just younger. As parents, all we are guardians. We guard over what God has provided to us. So my whole thing is the same way God would want you to guard over a blessing that he gave you. If that's physical, a car, a home, a job, you got to do the same thing with your kids. You won't go to a job that you beg for and cuss, fuss, and whatever. That car that God you asked for from God, you're not going to tear it up. Okay, you're not gonna not clean it. You're not gonna not wash it. That new house that you got, you're not gonna not mow the lawn. You're not gonna wash the walls. You're not gonna not do none of those things. So why, when it comes to our children, we don't do the same thing? It's a blessing, and we must treat that blessing the same way we'll treat any other blessing that God gives us. This blessing is a little bit more difficult than any of those other physical blessings that we give us. Because this blessing is going to be a product of what we do and what we say. Okay, what we do and what we say is exactly going to come out of this child. So after that, it's just having that open door policy, having that good that positive environment, and also listening. Listen. That is one of the hardest things as adults that we don't do, especially as parents. We struggle with listening. My whole thing is, I know you want to overtalk them. I know I have a problem with that. I'm getting so much better with that to this day now, because I am a counselor. Sometimes I'm like, no, that's not right. But at the end of the day, I understood why I did. I did that because in my household, you had to argue your way through. You had to prove your point and prove your point quick to shut a person down. That's what I learned in my house. It was a yelling, fussing, cussing, spree in my home. That's just how it was. It's getting so much better now, but that's just how it was. So that's what I did. And then at the same, but I had the opportunity to share. So let me go ahead and tell you something real quick, or let me tell you a story, or let me tell you something. So my whole thing is, do not miss opportunities to share information with your children. So just say you have a young daughter or whatever, or a young son, and at this time, they're talking about boyfriend and girlfriend. They started talking about boyfriend and girlfriend like 11. Okay, so they're like, oh, I got a girlfriend, I got a boyfriend. Don't be like, no, you ain't got a girlfriend, you got a boyfriend. My whole thing, I'm like, I don't, my son said something about that once before, and I was like, no, you guys are too young to be boyfriend and girlfriend because y'all don't understand it. Okay, but I let him talk about it, and he was like, well, I don't want to be her boyfriend, but she was insisting for me to be her boyfriend. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to go to her parent, and I need to talk to her parent about what she's hearing or what she's seeing, and let her have the conversation with her that she's not ready for that because she don't understand the dynamics of a relationship quite yet. She don't understand what boyfriend girlfriend come with. truth be told, as adults, we still don't know what that come with, okay? But truth be told, they're too young to even grasp that concept. They're only going to do what we see. So if she's in a household where her mom it has a boyfriend, whatever, and they're fussing, cussing, or whatever, then that's what she's gonna think she does with her boyfriend. And when he's being rude, beating up on her, beat like literally the girl was jumping all on him, trying to fight him and stuff. That lets me know that's what's going on in her household, and that's a problem for me because she's too young to be exposed to those things. So I need to go to her parent, and I mean that's kind of hard to do because mamas get people get upset. But if you come in contact with my child, I feel like I'm an adult enough to come to you and say, look, this is what I heard, this is what I seen. I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying anything's going on in your home. But I'm just saying these are things she's being exposed to, and she's displaying what she's been exposed to. Okay, and then let her go ahead, and all I have to do is pray for the little girl that she's not being strayed the wrong way. Okay, because kids are being easily strayed based off the bad decision as adults that we make. Okay, so my whole thing is take the opportunities, and then when you don't have the opportunities, my whole thing is just when y'all out having a good time eating ice cream or shopping or something like that, you can have a conversation. And I mean, as adults, this is difficult. As much as we say we are parents and we shouldn't be scared, we are the scariest people. Like, parents are so scary. Like, we so, oh my god, I don't want to talk about this with my kids. They're children. My whole thing, they're humans, and we're just worried that we're gonna say the wrong thing. But my whole thing, your kid don't know what you don't know. Truth be told, they trust you. They trust everything you say, everything you do. They trust it. So with that being said, my whole thing is only say what you know. Don't say what you don't know. Don't say something you don't want them to repeat to a full extent. The wording or whatever. My whole thing is just treat them as children, treat them as adults, but also use discernment on what you feel like you should share and what you shouldn't share. Because at the end of the day, we have some kids who are way above their time where you can have full-blown conversations and they're okay with having it. And you have some who is a little bit, within their age bracket and they think like their age bracket and they're just not ready to hear that information that you're giving them. So my whole thing, you got to know your kid. You got to know what your kids can, congest, what your kids can consume and understand and how they process things and how they think and how they talk to their peers and things like that. You need to know those things. And this makes us really take the time to be more active as a parent, to know what your kids know. And you can also just ask your kid, what do you know about being a virgin? What do you know about this? Or you can bring up something that you probably seen on Facebook, like, oh, baby, I heard this story. How do you feel about that? Because truth be told, it's a lot going on in the world that our kids run across, especially if your child is 11 and up and on social media. You need to ask them some questions because they're coming across porn. They're coming across all types of stuff. So my whole thing is nothing wrong with bringing up, hey, man, I see some crazy stuff on social media. You see some crazy stuff on social media? And they be like, yeah, mom, I seen da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And you ask them, what did you see and how did that make you feel? Things like that. Or even with the girlfriend boyfriend thing, you can bring that up. Have you kissed that person? No, mama, I haven't. And you open the door and say, you know what? I understand you're young. You probably want to kiss them, or they're going to try to kiss you or want to hold your hand and all these other things. And you let them know what those things can entail. Okay, and this is not, and I want y'all to think this is just not about herpes. This is really about STDs in general. But my whole thing for us, we got to explain the importance of, because typically around 11, 12, 13, I was 13 when I started having sex, but truth be told, 11, 12, they're really not having sex yet. They're petting, they're fondling each other. They're doing some things they shouldn't do because they don't really understand it. But for sure, they're probably kissing. Okay, but my whole thing is we have to explain to them, when you see certain things, you got to say, my whole thing, they don't even have to question the person. Because at 11, 12, they're not getting tested. Truth be told, they're not. Okay, 13, they're not getting tested. 14, they're not getting tested. People are not getting tested about 16 years old. The only time you're getting tested at 13, 14 is because your parent absolutely know that you're active, which most parents don't know their kids are active, including myself. My mom had no clue. Okay, so my whole thing is most people are not getting tested at 16, so you can't sit there and tell your kid, oh, you need to ask them when the last time they get tested. Absolutely not. That's not going to work. So my whole thing is you got to tell your kids symptoms. Like, oh, if you're, you see somebody and you see something on their lip is like a sore, I would suggest you kiss them, and you don't always have to use the wording right off, especially if they're kind of young, because you don't want them to say, ooh, you got herpes, blah, 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 blah. You never want to create and cause your kid. You don't. All of us think we know our kids, but all of us do not. So your kid could be a bully. I'm just being honest. But truth be told, guys, you don't want to say certain things quite yet if you know your kid don't understand it, and you also don't want your kid picking at other kids about things they didn't have control over, or they was forced into through molestation, rape, things of that nature. But what you can do is tell your child, hey, you see something on somebody's lip that look like a sore, do not kiss them, and you can tell them how to tell that person like, no, I don't want to kiss today. I don't want to do that. I'm okay. And if that person like, no, 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 you like, no, not today. We can just hold hands. Things like that. And then you got to also tell your kid when you see those things, when you see it, don't do anything with them at all. Okay, don't do anything with them at all. And your kid may, and the truth be told, kids are kids. They're gonna do things. They get angry. They say things that's mean. But I want you to do what you need to do as a parent to let them know, like, no, baby. When you see that stuff, you don't do anything when you see those things. Okay. And when you do not see those things, it's okay to do things. And also, if your kid is like 16, 17, a little bit older, now you can say, baby, you see somebody with something on their lip like a cold sore, that's herpes. Okay, that can cause you to get herpes on your lip, or if y'all doing oral sex of any kind, then you can get it as well down there. Okay, and then you could be a little bit more transparent, a little bit more honest, and a little bit more explicit with your kids, and they know, okay. And you can also tell them, if you see that, you're like, hey, do you know what that is? And most kids, like I said, they have no clue what it is. And you can say, if the kid is so close and you know that child, and your kid is close with you, they say, mommy, I've seen such and such on my boyfriend's lip. I remember you told me that's what it is. Is it okay if he come to you and talk to you about it? So now you're opening the door where your kids can bring in their significant others, quote unquote, or boyfriends at that time, or girlfriends, or whatever your kids are interested in that time, and they can bring them in, and now you can keep your kids safe, and you can take them tested and all that stuff like that. I know we do not want to condone sex. Look, nobody wants to condone sex, but truth be told, kids are doing it. They're doing it. But my whole thing, the main reason they're doing it is because we're not talking to them, and we're not educating them, and we're not telling them that you don't have to do stuff you don't want to do. And my whole thing is, sometimes we all say don't put yourself in places you don't want to be in. But my whole thing is, sometimes we put our kids in situations where they're going to their friend's house, and we at their friend's house, and their mama don't drop them somewhere else, that you're aware of, and they went to a party and things get hot and heavy. What can they do? It's scary. You know what I mean? They want to call you, but they're scared because they're like, well, I don't know, my mom may get on me about this, she may get on me about that. So my whole thing is, guys, we got to understand, sometimes they're put in situations because we allowed some things, not because there's someone ain't got no business. Because sometimes, yes, they are, but truth be told, they're there sometimes because we allowed them to go to their party. We allowed to go to their friend's house. We allowed them to go and walk around the lawn. We allowed them to go to the movies, and something happened, or they meet their boyfriend there, or they meet some guys there from high school or elementary school or middle school, or whatever they may, or they went to a Chuck E. Cheese and the kids playing in the balls, and anything can happen. Okay, so my whole thing is, sometimes it's not because of our kids. It's just us as parents thinking that, oh, it's okay, it's innocent, they're gonna have a good time, and they still get exposed to things. So this is the main reason I'm telling you guys that we have to educate our kids. And also, when it comes to when they get like 16 to 17, to explain symptoms, it's telling them, if you smell something down there, let me know, because it's something wrong. It's something wrong, it's something going on. And also, if they're having sex, and they let you know that they're having sex, and they say, mommy, I was with my partner and something smelled funny, or something wasn't right, or it looked weird. You like, okay, baby, then there's something wrong, and we need to find out what's wrong. And you take them tested and say, hey, I can take your partner as well if he's okay or she's okay with me taking y'all both. And then as a parent, I have to talk to the parent. And I got to first talk to him and say, hey, is your mama know you having sex, because I ain't trying to, I don't have to think I'm condoning it. But my whole thing, sometimes the lines got to be crossed, because if you come in contact with my child, I got to protect mine. And best believe I want to protect you if you're going to be in contact with mine. And I know this is difficult, and I know this is hard as parents, because we never want another parent to think that, you're saying things are okay and things like that. But my whole thing is a parent, and I feel like we got to take care of other people's kids by default. Because if you come in contact with my babies, I'm taking care of your child by default. Like, at all. Like, if your kid came to my house, your kid is my kid. Okay? I'm not going to yell and cuss at your kid because I don't yell and cuss at mine. But I will discipline yours. I will sit them in the corner. I'll make them raise their hands. I'll make them do some jumping jacks. I'll make them do some push-ups. Okay, truth be told, it's very interesting ways to discipline. I'll make you right. I shouldn't talk back. I should have listened. Things like that. But my whole thing is, I feel like we got to understand it takes a village. And if a kid come in contact with your kid, you want to keep your kid safe, and your kid continue to mess with this kid, then you need to make sure you're keeping this kid safe as well and educating this kid as well. And also talking to the parent about the things that you're talking about. And like I said, sometimes you're going to get some backlash. But my whole thing, when that happens, then your kid, that kid got to stop messing with yours. Like, look, I tried, and your child made me mad. Like, Mom, why did you go tell them, blah, blah, blah. I said, but as an adult, this protect us, because every parent don't think like me. Every parent is not as open as me. Every parent is not as understanding as me, and every parent is not real. Just being truth be told with their kids. So I was like, I have to do to protect me, but most importantly, as an adult, I have to go communicate what's going on with their kid, because that kid is coming to some contact with mine. So my whole thing is, guys, I know this is a difficult conversation. I know this is hard. I kind of should have just named this educating your kids about STDs, but anyway. But truth be told, guys, we must have these conversations. Like, we have to. It's time for kids to stop being educated out in the world. And we're in a lot of trouble. Like, a lot of trouble. It's too much going on in the world right now for us to let the world teach our kids about sex. We cannot. We cannot even let them educate them about STDs. Because truth be told, they say cold sores and fever bliss is not herpes. That's a lie. Okay, that is a lie. That's a lie. They're saying that you will know if you have chlamydia and gonorrhea. No, you won't. Like, most of the time, it's no symptoms. Most people don't even realize chlamydia and gonorrhea got very same symptoms, okay? Even if you're a woman, you can mistake gonorrhea, chlamydia for a yeast infection or bacterial vaginosis, okay? Kids won't know that. We don't even know that as adults because we're not educated as much as they are. So my whole thing now is going to put it on us that we turn around and get educated. So now we can educate our kids. Look how many of us found out we had herpes and thought we were being safe. Condoms is not enough, y'all. Stop teaching your kids condoms is enough. No, it's not. Education is first. You educate, you test, then you put a condom on. You educate, you test, and then you put a condom on. Don't put a condom on, get tested, and then educate yourself. That's exactly what we've been doing for all these years. Putting a condom on it, then we test after of it, and then we want to decide we want to just educate ourselves by default. No. It absolutely do not work. It do not work. It do not work. It don't work, okay? It don't. I fell in that junk. I had sexual education, but they were so shallow. They didn't even let us ask questions. Most of the kids in the room were just laughing and giggling because most of them had already learned this stuff the wrong way. And that let me know, just standing in the room, sitting in the room, that their moms did not educate them about anything. They didn't learn everything from friends and family, and then or cousins and stuff like that. And then nope, and this is not going to work. This, and I mean, literally, they're talking about penis. They're using the real words. Come on. Kids are not going to listen to that. You got to be real with kids. You got to tell real stories with children. You got to be silly. You got to be funny. You got to be relative and all these things like that, because if you're not, kids don't want to be talked to. They don't. They're human beings. We don't like to be talked to. So my whole thing, we don't want to be preached at. We don't want to hear none of that. We don't even want to hear it. So my whole thing, how do you think a kid want to hear it? They don't. Truth be told, we got to think how we were thinking as children. We don't want to hear that. We want to say, let me tell you, I had a situation. And you have to sometimes share your stories with your children. I know you're thinking like, I don't want my kids to think I'm a hoe. Whatever. They see what you do at home. They see who come in and out your house. They see how many people come in and out your bed. I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth. If it touched on some toes, okay. But I'm just trying to tell you, your kids see stuff already. So my whole thing, you're better off going ahead and educate them. You better educate them. You better say something. You gotta let them know that some things that you may not do is not absolutely safe or right. You know, but you need to educate them, because what your kids see is what they're going to do. Say hi. Okay, so my whole thing is, I hope that helped in some way, kind of giving y'all a foundation on how to deal with educating your kids. I'm really at a point where I'm really ready to go step out and start educating young adults about this, because I started having sex at 13, y'all. Like, I wish I knew half of what I know today. It'll prevented me from being where I am today. No lie. And I'm sure if y'all had the information that y'all know now, it would have prevented you from so much drama, so much hurt, unhurt, all this other stuff. But these kids are not learning that, because what we doing? Oh no, you got to be celibate. I'm all down for celibacy, but my whole thing be celibate because you know why you're being celibate, not be celibate because other stuff. My whole thing, most kids don't even know what celibacy is. Most kids don't even know what abstinence mean. They don't even know what sex mean, let alone talk about abstinence. No, they don't even understand it. They have no clue. My first thing, you got to educate them about sex and the risks that come with sex, and then explain those things to them. Sit down, and then explain those things to them. But until then, y'all, these kids gonna be like, "What? No sex? Why? Why? I don't understand why." You know, and understand the importance of having it in a relationship, in a marriage. It's important. I didn't do it before, but I wish I did. And I'm sure a lot of you may feel the same way. Like, man, I should have waited. Men and women. I talk to men and women about it all the time, and we all like, man, I wish I would have just listened to somebody, or I wish somebody would have explained to me why it was the best option. And that's my whole thing. It's not something you want to stuff down your kid's throat, but you want to educate your kids and then tell them the importance of how this can prevent so many things for them. And if they still choose to do something else, let you know that you can protect them and help them through this process, and understand the risk that comes with stepping out here, because everybody don't care about themselves. Truth be told, you care about yourself, and I'm sure a lot of y'all can say that. I knew my status, or I thought I knew my status, and I got with somebody who had no clue what their status is. My whole thing, if you know your status, your partner don't know your status, you don't know your status. And it's the same for our kids. They're going out here, they know their status because as parents, we went out here and we got them tested. But the next kid, they have no clue because their mama don't even know what testing is, and their mama ain't even thinking that their kids having sex. That's putting our babies at risk. Now, our child's coming home and they may contract something, and they may be scared to tell us. And as we know, gonorrhea committee, you cannot have it for a long period of time. It can cause some very big damage. Syphilis, too. It can cause damage, huge damage, without being treated. So my whole thing is, guys, we have to open the door to these kids and let them talk to us. Even if you're, any impact on a kid, if they're comfortable with you, they love you, they're open with you, they're drawn to you, open the door and have the conversations with them and just keep them safe. And as parents and as guardians, stop getting out your feelings because somebody's trying to help you. My whole thing, if you haven't had the conversation, thank God that somebody did. Thank God that somebody did. At least your kid knows something you did not have the time. Truth be told, because some of us work our butts off and not thinking about it. Thank God that God sent somebody else to help you. Stop turning down help. Stop getting that attitude because she's trying to help you or he's trying to help you. Take the help. You need it. Truth be told, you need it. Get out of your feelings. Get the help. Now, it's different than a person telling your child something wrong. But truth be told, half of the time, they're telling your child something good. And you're mad that you didn't have a chance to share it yourself. Because we all want our kids to look up to us. We all want our kids to be impacted by us. And we don't want our kids to look off to somebody else and look at them as their hero or look at them as their motivation. But truth be told, guys, if we don't want that to happen, which is going to happen anyways, because we're parents, our kids tend to attract to other people as well. But if we don't want those things to happen, guys, we have to do things that others don't have to do. And like I said, people are still going to come in your kid's life to help you and assist you, because sometimes you just don't know everything, or it came across your mind and that came across their mind because they was in the situation. They seen your kid do something and they corrected your child or educated your child. And I'm quick to say I am happy that I have a village. I'm never that upset when people say something to my kid. I listen to them and things like that, and I tell them I thank you for doing that, because I didn't see you for doing this because I didn't see it. I thank you for doing that because I didn't see it. Or I didn't have a chance to share that information. Thank you. Thank you. Start saying thank you and not getting an attitude and mad and want to fight folks because of it. Okay? Yes, sir. So, I hope that helped y'all. I hope that helped. Okay. What age is the right age to inform them? Okay, thank you. This is an awesome subject matter. Most adults are clueless on how the virus really works. This is a conversation I should have with my kids. Yes, you have to. You absolutely have to. But I love you guys so much. I don't know who is outside my house, but let me go soon. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.